Thank you very much, everybody, for being here this morning. I'm very pleased and honored to be able to speak with you today, and especially to be able to have a live discussion with two amazing enablers of growth and value creation in the Quebec tech ecosystem. To my left here, Louis Têtu. For those of you who do not know or are new to this gentleman, Louis is well known for having co-founding Taleo. Taleo was listed on the NASDAQ in 2005 and became the #1 provider of cloud-based software for talent and human capital management. He held the position of chairman and CEO from the company inception up until 2007. Taleo was recognized as one of the fastest growing technology companies in North America over many years, and recently in February 2012 was acquired by Oracle for the handsome amount of $1.9 billion. Prior to founding Taleo, in the 90s, Louis was president of BAN Supply Chain Management Solution division of BAN, a global ERP software company. And he became president of BAN Supply Chain Solution after the acquisition of Berklin group, which he co-founded with his brother back in 1989. Louis also recently became CEO of Coveo, a company that he first angel invested in 2007 after its spin-off from Copernic Technologies, another Quebec City-based company. And Coveo is quickly gaining recognition in the most advanced indexing and search technology platforms for enterprise. So as you may see, Louis has been very active over the last 2 decades. Louis is an engineer graduate from Laval University, and other than the fact that he won different, entrepreneurial awards in technology communication on multiple fronts, what fascinates me is that he's also a commercial pilot, helicopter pilot. So if anybody needs a quick flight to Boston for June, well, you can contact Louis as well. To his left, Robert Talbot. Robert is Vice President Investments at Telesystem. Robert has over 35 years of experience in growth capital investment in the IT and telecom sectors. Prior to joining Telesystem in 1995, Robert was in charge of investment and private equity at la Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec, Canada's largest pension fund and fund manager in Canada. And he was also a founding member of the private equity group, as well as being the first investor in the fund of funds strategy of La Caisse in Accel Partners. And Accel Partners is one of iNovia's recurring co-investors, which we appreciate greatly. So it's great that Robert had actually the insight many years ago to back one of the top-tier VCs in the US as well as in Canada. Robert is very successful in backing outperforming entrepreneurs. And just to name a few, Charles Sirois, André Chagnon, George Cope, and Louis Têtu. So thank you very much, Robert. Thank you very much, Louis, for being here today and for being open enough to share your insights, but also your stories throughout the years. So as a start, for those of you who have been reading a lot about the Canadian and the Quebec tech ecosystem, I've been personally reflecting a lot on the key attributes of what I consider are only the few great outperforming companies, tech companies in Canada as well as in Quebec, and trying to figure out of those tech companies, what are the key attributes or the factors that we can actually look at and try to replicate in building a stronger ecosystem. Looking at companies that not only are growing in terms of revenue and able to build $100 million revenue businesses, huge value creation for the shareholders, but also that are inspirational for the next generation of entrepreneurs. So when we're looking back at what made Microcell, Cognos, Taleo, Stingray, Beyond the Rack, Airborne, Softimage, in addition of having extremely bright, driven entrepreneurs, something that I witnessed and noticed was that there was a unique relationship between the entrepreneurs and its investors. So to start this out in terms of relationship and how that actually comes to bear, Robert, maybe starting just with you, how did your relationship actually start with Louis, and any insight in terms of how that relationship evolved over time?
In fact, it was a funny story because my boss at the time, Charles Sirois, had invested, I think it was $50,000 with a young entrepreneur. He called me and he said, you know, put $50,000 with that young guy, and I think he's looking for more investment, so you should call him, you know. So when I called the guy, it was Louis Têtu here, who was with, at that time with Berklin, and I met Louis. And we've started talking about what we could do as an investor with Louis, who was challenging, you know, who was working and trying to make his company grow. And we were on the point of, I would say after our due diligence, we were on the point of putting on the table a term sheet to Louis. When Louis called me and he said, you should just wait a couple of weeks, Robert, because I got something that came up and I cannot talk about it, but I'm asking you to just wait and see, you know. And it was Ben that came to Louis and started the negotiation with the acquisition of Berklin. So I've missed my investment in Berklin, but I started a great relationship, I would say, with Louis, that then went to work with Berklin. I will let him give you all the story, but for 3 years he was out of reach in Quebec City because he was working mostly in the US. But I kept my relationship with Louis. Once in a while we were talking how things are going, and one day Louis told me, I'm coming back to Quebec City and I will be looking for more investment. So for a new startup, if you know something, let's see, and I'll be happy to look at the opportunities. So it all started that way, you know. That relationship started with Louis, 3 years of just talking on once in a while, and then when he came back, I had again the opportunity to meet with a young technical guy from Quebec City that I thought he was very clever with a new product that he was putting on the market. The only thing was that I didn't think that he was very business. So I told him that he should join with somebody that has more business sense, you know, to help him. And I had in mind to introduce Louis at that time. So that is what I did. I called Louis and I said, I just met a guy in Quebec City. He's just near your neighbor. So if you want to meet him, tell me what you think about his solution. I think it's a great idea. The guy seems to be very clever, but he would need help on the business side. So Louis then met with that guy and called me a couple of weeks later and said, I think he has a great idea, but he definitely needs help, and he just need about, you know, probably $200,000 or $250,000 to start the business, you know. On our side, the minimum investment we were looking at was $1 million. So Louis told me, you know, I'll make a small round of financing with my friends and family, and we'll start, you know, working on that business. And at that time I told Louis, there's one condition to that, is that if you do that, the first financing afterwards, it's for us, you know. So we said, okay, that's a deal.
Don't sell too fast.
Don't sell too fast, no, you know. So Louis worked a couple of months on the business plan with the young guy and brought some people into the team, and then called me back about 3 months later saying, we're ready for a presentation to your team. And we've looked at the presentation. We were very happy to see the progress of what they have done. And he said, we need $2 million. And then it started with the first $2 million that we've put into Taleo was the first.
So the relationship actually started with, no, you can't get into the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
See? So for everybody, I know is actually a step to a yes, right? And so Berklin, you actually had Charles as one of your angel investors. Did you have any other VC funding in Berklin at that time?
No,
or was it basically friends and family?
My brother and I was 24 years old, and I cold called Charles. He was still in Quebec City. Telesystem at the time was in Quebec City, and Charles was probably 32 years old or 33 years old at the time. And I figured, you know, here's a guy who looks like an entrepreneur and will probably understand the kind of things we're trying to build. So I cold called Charles, and we needed, I don't remember the amount, probably 100 grand or 150 grand, and went and met him on Boulevard Charest at his office, and it was basically, you know, Charles has that unique ability to listen and make up his mind very quickly. It was a half-hour meeting and a 100 grand check, basically, and that's what started. You know, it got us what we needed to basically just kickstart Berklin and invest a little bit into it and start selling and so on.
That's good. And Berklin, you built it up over how many years before actually selling?
We built Berklin. Berklin was in manufacturing software, so my brother and I were both engineers. So we built Berklin over, let's see, from 1990 to 1995. And then we did, there was a wonderful thing back then called pooling of interest. You could merge the balance sheets of two companies. And there was an ERP company, so we had joint customers with a large ERP company in Holland by the name of Bon. And that company was just going public, and we had some unique technology that could replace their core engine, or we convinced them of that. And so we merged the two companies and basically did a stock swap. We thought it was a good idea to get, you know, bond stock in exchange of our stock, and it ended up being a good bet because when we did the merger, the bond stock was $24. A year later, it was 110. So it was a pretty good ride. And then bond, you know, went up very, very quickly after that. Had the opportunity to be on the executive team and learn a lot, you know, by working with people. When we merged with Bon and that company went public and so on, we were 1,800 people. 2 years later, we had 6,000 employees. So it was you know, wow. It was growth. Absolutely. And so that's how we experienced investment and growth and, you know, deploying international infrastructures. And it's all about, you know, the distribution infrastructure, basically. Yeah.
So your relationship, you know, started out with a cold call with Charles, introduction afterwards with Robert. Robert got a no because you ended up selling Berklin. Charles said that he got a 50x on his investment.
He got a pretty good deal.
Which is good, huh?